Okay, here we are looking at a iOS device that's managed by Workspace ONE Unified Endpoint Management. As part of that management, we're delivering a certificate down to the iOS operating system for authentication purposes. So if I'm to launch the Hub app, so the Workspace ONE Intelligent Hub application, what you'll see here is you'll see access to the various applications that I have. So SaaS apps such as Concur, Workday, Salesforce, some internal apps, and here you see some notifications of some new and recommended apps that I should be accessing, as well as the full list of applications that are available to me based on my Active Directory credentials. So you can see here that I actually see a lot of native applications in here. So when I say native, I mean iOS. So for example, you've got the Cisco WebEx application. So if I installed that, it would pull it down from the Apple Store, but here it's just Workspace ONE managing the configuration of that and the delivery of that down. As part of Workspace ONE, we have Identity Manager. What Identity Manager allows me to do is have a single point of user authentication. So in the world of identity, that's called an IDP, so the identity provider. So when I access an application from, when I launch Workspace ONE, it authenticates to Identity Manager based on my AD credentials, and it returns back those applications I have access to. Other benefit is that we have what we call SP initiated authentication. So that's authentication initiated by the application. Now, the reason that's important is because it gives us a single sign-on and a better user experience. So if I go onto my second screen and I've got a folder called Workspace, these are the applications that I've installed from that Intelligent Hub application rather than just natively from the Apple Store. And one of those is Workday. So just an example, when I click on Workday, I don't need to launch that through Intelligent Hub to be able to do this single sign-on. I can just natively launch it, and essentially what goes on in the background that I don't see and a user doesn't see is a request back to Identity Manager to say, this application's trying to launch, trying to open, this is the user account, and then Identity Manager has a secure conversation using SAML authentication with the Workday server and approves that user access. So there's like a common ground for those two processes, and that's typically the username. So my username would be my email address. But as you can see, the net result there is that I've got single sign-on through to Workday. Equally, if I go back, that could be to other applications like our web. It could be to some internal apps I use for like assistance and VMware events. You can see some of the notifications there. Along the bottom, you can also see that I use Concur for my expenses and travel bookings and things like that. So again, I'm doing that SP initiation, single sign-on. So it's authenticating me. I don't need to do anything. It all goes on in the background, but that's just sort of down to that certificate on the endpoint, and also Identity Manager having a conversation with Concur to make sure I'm an authenticated and a trusted user. So that should go through. Seems a little bit slower than normal, but there you go. So again, that's gone through. That's all been refreshed and I'm authenticated. So that's really how we deliver what we call mobile SSO. So single sign-on through to SaaS apps, web apps, or native applications based on a mobile platform such as iOS and Android. Hope that was of use.